Um, Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate all of you as our sales partners. Um, you are a trusted network of ours, and just seeing by the amount of people that are attending this, we appreciate your interest, continued interest in selling H2scan product for us. This is an important meeting for us, and we believe for you also. Um, Jeff, slide, please. So I'm Mike Knofel, Vice President of Sales, Process and Safety. I've been at H2scan for over 14 years now. And, I've worked with some of you for a very long time. And this is, I believe, one of the more important products that we've released. Slide, please. So why this launch matters. Us as H2scan, we continue through our engineering, R&D, and all of the departments at H2scan to try to continue to put great products into the marketplace for you. And, we did that with our introduction of the Gen 5 products, which is our OEM version of our legacy products that we've sold for so many years. And the idea around that is to start creating products that you can sell in large volume in a recurring way. And part of that with the IS Gen 5 products now, just to let you all know, we have our 53 series released, our 5331, 5332, and now 5332. We're taking orders for all of those products. The ability to ship our 5333s will be starting next month, so we already are taking POs. And our 5334, which is our H2S and CO resistant product, will be out later this summer. So we're excited about that. So why this launch matters on the HY-GUARD. This is a product that we got a lot of information from our sales network, whether it's our partners, our customers, our OEMs, to understand what is really needed in the safety world. And that went into the development of what we think is a very exciting product. Again, we trust you with the customers, and it's our obligation to give you products that you can sell in volume. And we believe this product is it. We believe you're going to be able to get high volume placement across many facilities. What we give you here is what we've always given you, which is a reliable product. You're getting reliable detection, no cross sensitivity, fast response. We've improved our response times, our detection, and our T90 times, and no maintenance. So you got a long life product with no maintenance required with our self-calibrating product. And this is going to open up a lot of markets for you. We're going to run through the scenario of the different markets here, as well as the product description. Slide, please. So what the team's going to show you here is, first off, a description of the HY-GUARD product by Sue and Jeff. Sue's in our engineering department. She's going to give you the perspective from the engineering department of what was done here. And then Jeff's going to take over from there and talk about the details of the HY-GUARD product, as well as the applications that you can sell into. As you know, there's a huge growth in the AI, what's going on with AI in data centers around the world, and this affects all of you around the world. Battery room and facility opportunities are everywhere in your territories, as we're going to show you. Also, the new display unit. It's a beautiful unit that's going to be released here soon. Sue will be describing that to you. And then Zari, our application engineer, will be talking about the upfront placement of these sensors, where we get the information from your customers, and we're able then to tell you how many sensors to place in these facilities and where to place them. You'll get a beautiful report from us. That's from a credibility standpoint, I think, going to be very important for your customer. Slide, please. So what you're getting, this is the last slide. before we get into Sue's presentation. So we have a lot of sales support material that will be available for you. Manuals, data sheets, application notes, case studies, white papers. We have videos, blogs. We're also going to have a demo kit available. The demo kit, which will come at the normal demo discount that we offer all our products at. We'll have a working analyzer for you to demonstrate. It'll also have a shield over it, basically a bump test shield that you can use to demonstrate the product, as well as a gas bottle and the display unit, which will be coming out soon. Also, logistically, for questions, because we have so many people on this presentation, please jot down your questions as we run through the presentation, and then you can reach out to your regional sales manager, or they'll be in contact with you to answer those questions, and that includes pricing and the demo kits and any other follow-up. So with that, I'm going to now turn it over to Sue. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Sue, and I was the Senior Project Manager for HY-GUARD, which launched in November. And I'm also leading the development of HiSight. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the design intent behind our hydrogen safety products and how that vision evolved from HY-GUARD to HiSight. Next slide. So when we launched HY-GUARD, our goal wasn't just to create another hydrogen detector. We built this product in collaboration with our customers and industry experts. We designed the product around the voice of customer collected throughout development from all types of users. Hydrogen safety products are often treated as purely industrial devices, and we heard user pain points and we transformed them into reliable, easy to use, and thoughtful design all in a single product. Every aspect of the HY-GUARD was developed with that mindset. From a design perspective, we selected colors, materials, and form factors that aligned with our brand identity. The result is a product that feels bespoke, modern, and durable, while still being approachable to installers and end users. Equally important was simplifying installation. We wanted the setup experience to feel familiar and intuitive, similar to installing a Nest thermostat. The next objective was a plug-and-play deployment with minimal complexity, reducing installation time and making products accessible to the broader range of users. Next slide. We also heavily focused on the installation flexibility. HY-GUARD was designed to support easy and universal mounting options, allowing customers to deploy the product in a variety of environments without specialized hardware or custom solutions. We offer mounting options such as punch-out, junction box, wall mount, DIN rail, and surface mount, with junction box mounting being the preferred installation option. Next slide. The HY-GUARD is an all-in-one monitor with a life expectancy of over 10 years. The dual sensor architecture allows HY-GUARD to maintain accuracy over time. The device supports 3 communication options, including digital communications through Modbus RTU over RS-485 or DNP3, a 4 to 20 milliamp analog output, and 2 dry contact relays with default alarm points at 1% and 2% hydrogen. I have a demo unit with me that I would like to show. Jeff, if you can focus on me, there you go. So this is the HY-GUARD unit, okay? So I'm gonna just pop the lid off. Okay. And this is what it looks like. So here is where you would wire into your connectors, just as you would on a Nest thermostat. And then here you've got your 4 to 20 milliamp analog output. Here you've got your Modbus RTU over RS-485. Here you've got your DC power On the other side, you've got your AC power, and then your 1%, 2%, and fault relays. Okay, so that's what it looks like, just from up close. Okay, I'm gonna pop the lid back on. Okay, and then, so this is the front face, and here is where your 85 decibel audible alarm is located, right there. And then on the front face, right here, you actually have your LEDs right here. And then you've got your power LED, your fault LED, your low alarm LED, high alarm LED, and then I skipped the middle. So right in the middle, right there, is an IR sensor, and that is touch activated. And basically that allows you, it has a couple of functionalities. It allows you to do a self-test to ensure that your LEDs are functional. It can silence the audible alarm. It can initiate a communication test mode without needing to put hydrogen gas on it to ensure wiring was set up correctly. And it can also do a system reset. And that's your HY-GUARD. Okay, we can go back to the slides, Jeff. Thank you. So I covered this section. If we go to the next slide, I covered the base as well. And then if we go to the next slide as well, I covered that too. That's your audible alarm, LEDs, and IR sensor. And then if we go to the next slide, so the specifications can be located on the data sheet, and Jeff will cover where it's located and how to access it. Next slide.
All right, thank you, Sue. My name is Jeff Donato. I'm the sales director for safety products. Been with the company for about 4 years, but I've been in the standby power and energy storage market for close to 31 years. And I'm going to be covering applications and how we're going to go to market with this product. It's very exciting that we developed a product that is built by customers. The customer base actually helped us with the design of this product, just as Sue mentioned earlier. And so there's a lot of excitement about this product in the marketplace because of that. And so our positioning is as such. We compete with all-in-one industry units. As we know, a lot of all-in-one units in the industry can sometimes lack in quality, where we position HY-GUARD to be a very high-quality unit, very industrialized, with everything involved or everything in the unit that you could possibly need for power and communications, and also with mounting. We use dry contacts for most safety communications, which is preferred in the industry, but we also support 4 to 20 analog output and also Modbus RTU, and most recently DMP3. The sensor life is very long, and that's been an issue in the market with other sensors, with having replacement parts and calibration schedules. So we've eliminated all of that in the marketplace. So this is a fit and forget solution. And there's no dangerous trips up a ladder or up a boom lift or a scissors lift to have to do calibrations, so or replacements. So we've eliminated all of that. We also eliminated the need for any special cabling or wiring. So as Sue stated, with the WAGU connectors that are on the unit, basically you just pull the tab up, insert your wire, and push down. There's another style where you push down on a button and insert your wire, but really no special tools, no special cables required for this. There is a wiring spec in the manual, and you can reference that to which wires that you need to purchase from any electrical supply house to install the HY-GUARD. I want to go through the resources about where to find information on the HY-GUARD and how best to use that information. So we have a web page right on the H2scan website, and you can see. I think I have my cursor. Have it visible. Okay, so you can see that we have some downloads here on the right-hand side, and I included those downloads here in the PowerPoint presentation, which you'll get a copy of. how I use this is I basically drag my cursor across it and cut and paste. And I did exactly that here on the side. And you can see they all turn into links. So you can feel free to copy and paste those links into emails, or you can simply download these sheets and you can attach those to emails. So we have the data sheet, we have the quick start guide, we have the operating manual, some certification information, and then this one on the top is an alternate wiring instruction. What that is we have created a way for your customers to connect a H2scan directly to a substation battery if they are if they so desire. So we made the voltage accordingly. Most substation batteries are 60 cell, 120 volt systems, and the H2scan can be connected to the most positive or negative of that and negative of that system. So you can use that as an alternative into the AC side of the input of the H2scan. So all this is available on the website. Also in the customer portal, we have a sales brochure, and this is the first time we had done a sales brochure for just a unit, but there's so much excitement out in the marketplace. We wanted you to have a high-level piece that you can show your customers. And also we left some space here for you to brand it with your company name, logo, and such, so you can send this front and back sheet out to customers. You can print it front and back. We have it in both the U.S. size and also the European size of literature. And then to the right, we have the data sheet, which Sue mentioned. The information about the H2scan is here to the right of the data sheet. And that's all on the data sheets on the website and the portal, and the sales brochure is on your customer portal for you. We have a H2scan video. We have it in English and also several other languages here. So Mandarin, Japanese, Spanish, Portuguese, and German for right now. But if you need another language, just reach out to us and we can certainly convert to a different language. Obviously, what I mentioned before, we have a partner portal. You can log in, you can get all the information as a distributor, and you have all of the data sheets and customer literature and help information within that portal. To the right, I'm giving you an example of H2scan chat. So we have a chat bot on our website that you can find an icon on our website you can click on. You can ask it any questions you like. In this case, I asked it what the key codes and standards were for the US market for battery systems. And as you can see in my search result, it gave me NFPA 855 and International Fire Code as two examples, and there's more there listed, but it's a great place to initially ask a question and try to get information. We have it all preloaded with a lot of our FAQs and questions, so you can get immediate answers from our chatbot. We also have white papers and blogs. These are in the resource section of our website, and I listed pretty much all of the battery room safety papers and blogs that I've written over the last couple of or 3 years here, and you can see the topics for the white papers as well as the blog topics on the right. And we are continually writing new blogs and new white papers on all kinds of different subjects. These are just an example of one topic. So feel free to visit the resource center of our website for this information. This is great to give to customers if you have one that is dealing with some of these situations that you might see listed here. Coming up, I'm doing we are doing a focus on the data center market. And we have a webinar scheduled with Data Center Dynamics. Some of you know it as DCD. And they have a podcast series that have big names in the industry that are giving talks. We decided to join them, and we have a webinar scheduled for the first part of July. So you'll probably see the second week of July this coming to life, and we will make sure that we distribute that link to you so you can also share that with customers. But this is really supposed to prime the market for the data center industry. As you know, there's a lot of data centers going up around the world, and some of them are very hard to reach depending on what kind of structure they have for reaching their contacts. So we're investing in this event. So I'm going to transition from the marketing side and just get a little bit more into application in the industry. So since the HY-GUARD is a safety monitor, it is meant for the safety market to measure hydrogen and air background. And of course, in this marketplace, we have several international standards, whether they be originating out of different countries, but for the entire general industrial and processing segment. And so we notice that the top line I have here, I've listed NFPA 2, the International Fire Code, IEC standards, another NFPA standard 69 for explosion prevention, and then the ISO standard for electrolysis. And these feed various markets. As you can see, they feed generators, electrolyzers, petrochemical manufacturing. There's a lot of encompassing applications in these standards. Generally, these standards can sit on and stay on their own, or they can be adopted into a code or a local directive. And so most of your local directives that you see out there originate from one of these standards that are in the marketplace. And so it's always a good idea to ask a customer, what standard are you following? And that gives us a little bit of an idea of how to position the product to their application. For example, on the lower part of my slide, I have the standby power and motive power markets, for example. And this handles battery systems in general for warehousing and forklifts, and also for standby power systems such as UPS systems, energy storage systems like BESS systems and containers, and then also testing labs, as we see in a lot of the lithium market, testing that product. And just as an example, you can see that they are driven by four main standards: the NFPA 855. This is an example of a U.S. Safety standard with OSHA, but there are also others in local markets that have their own safety standards: IEC, and then IEEE and ASHRAE. So when we look at those markets, if we know what standards our customers have to meet, we can help guide them to the correct solution. And Zari is going to cover that a little bit later in this presentation about how we actually do that. So these are some of the key market segments we've actually been selling the HY-GUARD into currently. Hydrogen cooled generators, electrolyzers, hydrogen generators. We've had this for medical applications, petrochemical and manufacturing. Also in the battery market when it comes to material handling and logistics. We all live in a world where we love to shop online, and there's a lot of material handling that is going on behind the scenes. Critical infrastructure when it comes to standby power systems and energy storage. So this all encompasses the data center industry, as well as telecommunications and utilities. And then, of course, R&D and testing labs. And I made this slide, and again, you're going to get a copy of it, but these are just some of the applications in each of those segments that we can target. And we have heard from many of these segments, specifically for the HY-GUARD. We've been doing a lot of marketing of the HY-GUARD, and these are the markets that we were targeting, and we've also been hearing from. So that have area monitoring. So this is just a resource slide for you, but we have a vast market that we can go after with this product, and we've been receiving extremely positive feedback from the market. And again, a lot of the markets that you see here have participated in our voice of customer study and in the design of the product. This is another example about how events actually drive standards and codes, because this is a very code and standard driven industry when it comes to safety. This is just an example because I have a battery background. I'm just giving you the battery side of some of the things that have happened. And we've all seen this in the news where whenever whenever a fire happens or something something major happens in our marketplace that has to do with a hydrogen event or an explosion related to it, it hits the news. And likewise, it also hits the databases that are out in the industry. And so a lot of you have probably heard of EPRI, but EPRI has a failure incident database that they maintain that keeps track of incidents and root causes and industry impacts. And so this drives a lot of what we see in codes and standards today. And so it's all driven by real world situations that have happened all over the globe. And so customers are very much aware that that hydrogen safety is very, very important. And so we've been specifically targeting a device that will help them install easily, safely, and also with different sorts of positions. So in other words, you know, and a lot of our petrochemical refinery companies have engineers that are very familiar with sensors. But then if you go into, say, a warehousing operation, they may have facility managers that are not so familiar with it. So we made a device that can be installed amongst multiple applications and experience levels throughout the industry. This is an example of again what we have in the standby power and motive power segments: UPS, telecommunications, utilities, and forklifts, which I just mentioned a few minutes ago. And they have different battery systems inside of these of all these applications. Batteries are everywhere. I like to mention that just because it doesn't matter whether you're talking about a manufacturing facility, a utility, a chemical plant. There are opportunities inside of each one for a lot of these applications. I mentioned we were really targeting on the data center industry, which obviously is having explosive growth right now. But I want to give you just an idea about how we are approaching it from a segmentation standpoint. So on the left, we have what we call the enterprise UPS data centers, if you will. These are facilities that have UPS and battery systems in large buildings, and they could be banks, hospitals, corporate headquarters, broadcasting stations. You know, you name it. There's batteries in the basement in a lot of these applications. So these are anywhere that you might find a three-phase UPS, and many of the local codes and standards and local directives require that they have a hazardous mitigation program, because these are typically occupied buildings and with hazardous materials that can generate hydrogen. And so you have to have a plan and in a way to deal with that. We call that the hazardous mitigation program. And that is stated in both international standards, IEC standards, and a lot of local directives as well. The second one I'll address is what we call the industrial market. And so this would be, say, the factory floor, and UPS is at backup processes. And so these would be manufacturing plants, refineries, water treatment plants, those types of applications. They are in typical harsh environments. You might find that they may have vented batteries like nickel cadmium batteries or vented lead acid batteries. And these are backing up in important processes. And then on the far right, we have what we all know about hyperscale UPS applications, which would be what we call our cloud giants: Google, AWS, Microsoft, Meta. And these are typically lithium systems. There's a lot of lead acid systems involved in this space. And not only are they dealing with batteries, but they're also dealing with hydrogen-cooled generators and energy storage containers. So there's a lot of power ecosystem in that in those campuses. And of course, there's different types of energy storage out on the market, and there's lead acid batteries, lithium batteries, sodium, redox flow batteries, iron air batteries that are just coming into the market. And there's a host of other batteries that are being developed for different run times and different energy capacities. So and so energy is a big topic. Obviously, some of you probably deal with some of our other transformer products, but this dovetails into that as part of the energy ecosystem. We also found a tool for you. Mike found it. It's a great tool. It's called datacentermap.com. It has a searchable directory of 11,592 data centers across 179 countries. And so this spans from hyperscale to edge data centers, co-locations, and there's a lot of interactive material in this app that would be good for you to research. And as you can see, their top markets, the US, UK, Germany, China, France, but they also cover, as you can see in the photo, there's a lot more there. So feel free in your market to research which data centers are in your market. As we do this push on the data centers, again, leads will come out of that, and also you can also reach out from your side as well using this tool. I mentioned before in the forklift area with hydrogen mitigation, this is an area where obviously warehousing is happening all over the place. You can have anything from retail establishments to warehouses, large warehouses with material handling equipment. And the universal threshold is basically to keep anything below 1% of hydrogen volume by air. So that's 25% of the lower flammability level. That is universal across not only forklift applications, but also across any safety application that we have to manage hydrogen in air background. And so we want to keep a 4-to-1 ratio between the hydrogen level and the lower explosion limit. So that's a ratio that's becoming very universal. You will notice in some of the IEC standards, they allow up to 4%, but that's becoming very discouraged by insurance companies as well as local directives. The whole market is moving to this 1% or below, and that's why the HY-GUARD has a 1% relay. And so the first relay it's going to trip is 1% as its primary alarm, and then it has a critical alarm of 2%. So that just gives the operator on site a little bit of warning that the situation is getting worse, and so they can take maximum action against what's going on site. How it's used in multiple applications is to either alarm the customer so they can take manual action, or it can activate ventilation systems that are on site. In the event of a system like this that has a charger that's charging batteries, such as a forklift or maybe even a substation, they can connect the dry contact relays to the charger system so that they can shut the charger off in the event they get a high hydrogen alarm. Let's say 1% or 2%, whatever their preference is. And you can see all of the international standards that's around controlling hydrogen, even in these warehousing locations. And equally, we find that in standby power and energy storage as well. There's just a lot of regulations that are there to prevent hydrogen buildup, to prevent explosions, and to make sure that people and assets are protected in the facility. Just going to go over a couple of case studies. This is one that we've been working on. It's a medical application, hydrogen generator. They were using a Honeywell Midas, and the problem they were having is that they had to modify each one of the hydrogen sensors before they used it, before deploying it to their customer. The lower detection limit was way too low, which is a good point for a lot of applications. You might hear from your customer in area monitoring that, well, the lower the detection limit, the better it is, and that's really not true. We want to have an appropriate detection limit, but we don't want to have something so microscopic that it causes false alarms. And the false alarms is not a defect in the detector. It's just basically what is the threshold that's really needed on site. So in an example where you're producing hydrogen regularly, you're trying to maintain below 1%. So it makes no sense to try to measure something in, in a very low ppm level. So we don't have to be that that minuscule with our reading. So in this case, sometimes lower readings actually hurt the customer. So in this case, right sizing a sensor to the application is very important. So in this case, we want to keep below 1%. The HY-GUARD is designed for that. It's attached to the unit to be able to do shutdown of the unit and also alarm the customer that hydrogen might be building up in the room. And so they are going to be using the HY-GUARD and branding it in their colors and deploying several units every month as per their shipments demand. Second one, this is one that we're currently working on. This is an ongoing project right now. It's a major global data center. They've been using catalytic bead polyester units, having to calibrate them every 6 months. The problem is that in the U.S. they were cited by OSHA, which is the safety regulation for worker safety. They were climbing up ladders with hydrogen bottles, and they were creating a fall risk issue and also a drop risk issue with the hydrogen bottle. This resulted in the customer disabling their hydrogen monitoring because they were not allowed to climb the ladders anymore to get to the sensors. Their sensors drifted and started not working, basically. So they disabled those sensors, and the customer is now installing HY-GUARD systems in 19 battery rooms in just this one facility, and then they're going to continue on to other facilities throughout the country and then also throughout the world. There's also a case study that was that we have posted. And you can find this on our website, and you can see it's called Ladders Liability and Lower Flammability Limits. So feel free to download that or look at that blog. And we wrote that based on that incident. Next one is a forklift fuel cell. So in manufacturing facilities that may run 3 shifts around the clock, they may install hydrogen fuel cells in their forklifts rather than batteries. And this allows them to continually operate the forklifts just with refueling with hydrogen every time they need to recharge. So instead of having to sit in a recharge cycle with the battery system, they just pull up to a pump. Now, the fire brigade came in and was testing for CO levels, and they noticed that they had high CO readings on their handheld instrument. However, it was not CO that they were reading. Their CO detector was sensitive to hydrogen, so they were actually reading hydrogen in the air. And to differentiate between the hydrogen and the CO, they decided to install our 5021 sensor. Now, today, that would be a HY-GUARD opportunity. Then it was we had the 5021. So, but this is an example of what you can sell a HY-GUARD into. So if you have to differentiate between CO and hydrogen based on something that is producing hydrogen, it could be a fuel cell, it could be a battery system that's being charged. They could use hydrogen sensing along with their CO sensors so they can differentiate between the two. And in this case, they connected it to their HVAC system, and based on the reading that they were getting from the 4 to 20 milliamp signal, they would ramp up their fans to mitigate the hydrogen as it would accumulate. There's also another article that we wrote on that situation that's also on our website, and you can also look at that blog as well and read all about that. So future HY-GUARD development, where do we go from here? We launched an initial product that's great. It's meant for to test accumulation of hydrogen in rooms based on the application. We have had a lot of requests to meet additional standards in the marketplace when it comes to energy storage. And so we've been working on that, and we're going to come out with another. We've been doing a lot of research, and in development, we came out with this sensor that is an improvement of our current sensor. It's going to replace the sensor elements in our High Alerta and our H2scan series in Q4, and it gives you a little bit faster response time to meet the lithium response times for FM Global applications. So those that are insured by FM Global, they want a less than 30-second response time. So this will provide that at a T90. It'll be, again, deployed on all of our safety products. So that's an exciting improvement. And that's good. And that's not anything you have to do. The part numbers are all going to be the same. And it's not going to affect your pricing or your part numbers. It's just, we're basically just deploying it across the products as an improvement. The H2scan 3.0 that's coming out in Q2, Q3 of next year will be built for energy storage and electrolyzer containers. And it's going to be a much lower detection limit, below 1,000 ppm. It's going to be a hub and spoke form factor. So that means that you can put the electronics into, say, for instance, if you have electronic cabinet on the one side of the container, you can put it there, and then you can deploy sensors all throughout the container. And that's going to be for, again, for energy storage and electrolyzer containerized solutions. That's exciting. So I'm going to turn it back over to Sue. She's going to talk a little bit more about a display that's going to be deployed alongside of the H2scan soon. And go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Jeff, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So once we delivered a reliable and accurate way to monitor hydrogen, the next step for the H2scan product family line was to make hydrogen visible. Next slide. And that vision became HiSight. Next slide. So the HiSight serves as a display, monitoring, and control hub for up to 4 H2scan sensors connected via Modbus. Additionally, the HiSight is compatible with other H2scan products. The HiSight transforms sensor information into something operators can immediately understand and act upon. Next slide. As we began developing HiSight, we intentionally stayed true to the H2scan design language. Rather than creating an entirely new product aesthetic, we saw an opportunity with the existing form factor. The center dome of the H2scan has always been a defining visual feature, and our team recognized that it could become something even more valuable, a display. Next slide. So we explored many display technologies during development, including traditional LCD solutions. While functional, they didn't deliver the premium look and feel we wanted. More importantly, they moved away from the modern industrial design language that defined our products. That led us to adopt a high-resolution, bright, and sharp smart display module that feels integrated into the product. Our user experience team focused on making critical information visible at a glance. Next slide. So we chose an intuitive color system that everybody immediately understand. Green means normal operation, yellow indicates a low alarm, red signals a high alarm, and blue indicates a fault. So this allows personnel walking through the battery room or facility to quickly assess the system status from far away without needing to stop and read detailed information. For situations where visual indicators may not be enough, HiSight also includes a configurable, audible alarm system. This ensures operators are alerted even when they're not directly viewing the display. I do have a demo with me today of the HiSight, which I would like to show in real time. So Jeff, if you can focus on me. Let me get that set up. So this is what it looks like. Ooh, that's out of, there you go. Okay, let me turn it on. Okay, so here you can see it scroll left and right. There you go. And then you can basically see it go into high alarm and take over. And then I'm going to press down. Okay, so I've silenced the alarm. And if I press one more time, that will take me to the settings. Oops, there you go. Settings. And then I'm going to just slow down a little bit. Okay, and as you can see at the bottom, there's a status bar that basically reports on the hydrogen in real time in the background. And then if we go back, there you go. Oops. We can go back to the status screen. Yeah. And then this is what the fault screen looks like as well. So obviously, the alarm will be a lot louder, but since this is a demo, we didn't want to blow out your speakers. So, but on the production unit, the speaker will be at 85 decibels, just like the HY-GUARD. Thank you, Jeff. So if we can go to the next slide. So beyond visibility, we wanted HiSight to bring valuable operational functionality to the user. So many of the 4 core functions previously performed directly at the HY-GUARD sensor can now be accessed through HiSight. This includes resetting devices, initiating a communication test mode to verify proper installation, updating firmware, and downloading event and data logs for diagnostics, reporting, and maintenance. In other words, HiSight doesn't just display information, it becomes the central command center for the HY-GUARD ecosystem. Now that you've seen what HiSight is and what it can do, I'd like to share where we are in the development process and what you'll be expecting over the next couple of months. Next slide. So in July, we'll be conducting qualification testing. In August, beta units will be available for field testing. And in September is when we officially launch. Next slide. So together, HY-GUARD and HiSight represent the evolution of our vision. First, making hydrogen monitoring accurate and dependable, and then making that information visible, accessible, and actionable. And that's how we're helping make hydrogen safety simpler, smarter, and more intuitive for our customers. Next slide.
Thank you, Sue.
No worries.
All right, I'll pass you over to Zari. He can talk about the customer application information form and how that works for you.
Well, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Sue. My name is Zari Katakishisholu. I'm an application engineer with H2scan. Next slide. Today, I'd like to spend a few minutes covering 2 of the most important pieces of information we need to when evaluating a battery room application: the customer application information form, or CAI, and the floor plan. Once we've made an initial contact with the customer, our next objective should be obtaining these 2 documents. In fact, I like to rank the most important documents in the sales process. Besides, the most important is getting the PO, obviously. The number 1 is the CII form because it tells us what everything is. The number 2 one is the floor plan because it tells us where everything is. Without a floor plan and a completed CAI, or making assumptions with them, we can provide a much more accurate and defensible recommendation. The CAI is critical because it provides the information required to properly select, configure, and recommend an H2scan hydrogen monitoring solution. Next slide. Some of the key information we obtain includes battery chemistry, battery quantity, room dimensions, ceiling height, and ventilation information. Using this information, we can verify that HY-GUARD is the correct solution for their application. We can estimate the amount of hydrogen that may be generated determine an approximate quantity of monitors required, and identify communication and integration requirements. This helps us understand whether additional hardware such as displays or other accessories may be needed. Once we have the CAI, and the next thing we need is the floor plan. And this can be simply asked from the customer by stating, to ensure we provide the most accurate monitor quantity and placement recommendation, could you please provide a floor plan or room layout drawing? Next slide. The floor plan is critical because it allows us to determine proper monitor quantity, identify potential hydrogen accumulation areas, evaluate ventilation patterns, locate doors, HVAC units, and minimize coverage gaps. Ultimately, the quality of our recommendation depends on the quality of information we receive. To help streamline this process, we've developed the H2scan sensor placement tool, which we'll demonstrate shortly. Next slide. The placement tool assists us by applying H2scan best practices and generating an initial recommendation based on the room layout. It evaluates ceiling high points, hydrogen sources, ventilation returns, doorways, room edges, and overall coverage requirements. The tool then works to eliminate dead zones and optimize sensor placement throughout that space. Next slide. The software uses room dimensions and floor plans, identifies hydrogen generating equipment, considers ventilation and access points, applies H2scan spacing guidelines, detects coverage gaps, and recommends monitoring locations. It then generates a placement report showing monitor quantity, coordinates, and coverage visualization and placement justification. It's important to remember that the placement tool is intended to assist engineering. Final recommendations should always be reviewed against the actual room layout, ventilation conditions, and application requirements before providing this information to the customer. With that being said, I'd like to transition into demonstrating the CAI form and the H2scan sensor placement tool, so you can see how the software works and how quickly we can generate a recommendation once we have a floor plan and completed CAI. So let me share my screen. Let's go first to the CAI form. So this is a brand new CAI form that's intended for battery applications and utilizing the H2scan sensor. So I'm sure you have seen the CAI form before. The typical information leading to the customer information is at the very top. Then we go towards the application type. And these are the applications that Jeff kind of went through earlier. And then the battery type as well. Number of batteries, potential energy usage, the dimensions of the room layout, the ambient temperature of the room itself, any airflow conditions, air changes per hour, and the area classification. And this will provide us more detail or confirmation that the H2scan will work for their application. Alongside that, we can set points for their first alarm, which is the low alarm, and the high alarm as well. Any type of description can be added here as well. Response time requirements, communication, relay outputs, voltage, sensor mount, and if they are going to require a display on our end as well. We do offer a validation cap that they can utilize to quickly check the concentration reading from their units as well. And we also provide gases as well. So, and any other additional information can be added. And so as previous CAI forms that you most likely have seen, we've also had the added bonus of them checking off if they are needing any other type of communication. And they can put those set points as well for their relays. And then going into the software itself, sorry, my cursor is going a little slow. Once we have started the software, it initially starts out this way. We have the option of opening previous configurations that we've had saved before. We can choose a battery type, and this kind of applies on how many sensors can be adjusted within the room setting as well. The units, so if you want it to be in meters or in feet, we can handle that. And if we change over, it just kind of changes everything surrounding the dimensions, the ceiling height as well. And here we would enter the dimensions of the map, and we can simply apply it. It can be changed. If we know the ceiling height as well, we can apply that value. Some rooms will have additional ceiling heights, or like almost like a V kind of shape. And we can choose to place that as well, those lines. And so if we know that the height is a little bit different, we can apply that as well. So we know in this case, the normal, the lower points are about 14 feet, or 14 feet. And then we applied a ceiling line of 16 feet. We can also add HVAC units as well. We can apply the CFMs coming from those units, and then we can apply a return as well. And then we kind of find out the flow pattern within the room itself. If there is any doorways, we can apply those as well inside the room. On this side, if we do obtain a floor plan, we can upload that image, and then we can crop that image, zoom as well. And then if we know any equipment or batteries, we can apply those as well. If we know the sizes, we can simply enter those. So if I do this, you can see now the wind or the airflow will manage or go around those units as well. We can simply apply other kind of equipment inside the room as well, so we know that sensors cannot be placed above those units, and that's from a safety aspect. Let's see. And in this kind of room, we can simply just run a placement tool, and then this is what it would be suggesting these areas would be. I have floor plans that were given to us by previous customers, and so here is one as well. And so simply I placed these hydrogen equipments or the batteries and their suggested placements, and then I simply just hit the run button. We have the option to also move these sensors around. We go by a 25 to 50 foot kind of rule in between sensors. But typically ceiling lines are where we would like to be putting sensors at, because those are the highest points. In this case, these are essentially sections of the room that could be hindered by pillars or whatnot, and they can adjust for those as well. If we deem that the software didn't do an absolutely amazing job, we can move these sensors as well. Another one would be this room as well with the ventilation. And so I had already placed these, but I can clear these sensors and then rerun it as well. In this case, typically it's looking for any dead zones. So anything behind a supply or any corner areas, a sensor will be placed. It also understands that it would be very difficult to get into this space behind the batteries. So it would not be placing a sensor behind those areas. If they are able to manage to get to that space, obviously they probably would like to go more into the corner areas. But here you can see that there's a sensor less than 25 feet from one another. And also we would like to see a sensor closest to the return as well, as hydrogen is getting almost pushed in that direction. Another one was this from South America, and we placed those batteries as well, and then we did a placement. And so here it's doing a triangulation, and it's also utilizing this doorway as saying, okay, most likely the air current or patterns will be leading towards that area as well. And it's kind of going towards the corners. If this door was not there, it most likely would have placed it in the opposite corners here, and then one over here. We can also really nicely print a report, and typically we'll get something like this. It'll tell us the location of those sensors, and we are working on this section, but something you most likely will be getting is a more formal report discussing the room, and then we kind of break this down. And this report was given to one of our customers out in Asia, in Asia, in Japan, I believe. And so they had multiple rooms, and so we ran the placement tool and provided this report to them, and eventually it ended up with a total count of 49 sensors. Yeah, sorry, I should have zoomed in on that one. But you'll likely get a report similar to this after we've completed it. The software also has a neat feature where it can do it and export this into a 3D model as well. So let me show you that. And so I put the height of this equipment a little bit taller than the room height, so that didn't work out too well. But you can, let's see, here's another one as well with the wind pattern as well. Let's see. And so the blue boxes are your sensors and your locations of those high guards. And then we can give the report suggesting those exact dimensions or the locations of them as well. So, and that will do it for my demonstration on the software side. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll turn it back over to Mike for a final comment.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody. Sorry, went over a few minutes here for participating in this. Please contact your regional sales manager for more information on pricing and getting the demo kits. We have kits available, but limited. So we need to know how many you're going to be ordering. There'll be a one-time buy of the demo kits at the discount, the demo discount, which your regional salesperson can talk to you about and give you further information and also answer all your questions. We saw a lot of questions coming in. They'll be able to handle all those questions. So again, thank you for participating, and we look forward to working with you on this important new product. Take care, everybody. Bye.